The boy's voice trembled as the engines idled around him. "Buy my bike, sir? Mommy hasn't eaten in 2 days." The words cut through the roar of chrome and exhaust like a knife. Conversations died. Laughter stopped. A dozen bikers, hardened men with scarred knuckles and weather-beaten faces, turned to look down at a child standing barefoot on the hot pavement, holding a small, rusted bicycle that was clearly worth almost nothing. Yet to him, it was everything. The boy couldn't have been more than 8. His shirt hung loose on his thin frame, sleeves frayed, collar stretched. Dirt smudged his cheeks, but his eyes were clean to honest for the world he had been forced to face. Behind him, across the road, stood a woman leaning weakly against a closed storefront. Her skin was pale, her lips dry, her eyes hollow with exhaustion. She tried to smile when she saw her son speaking to the bikers, but the effort nearly broke her. The bikers had come into town for fuel and food. They were a mixed group, old friends, brothers by choice, men who had lived hard lives and survived them. People often crossed the street when they saw them coming. Tattoos, leather jackets, heavy boots. Outsiders saw danger, but the boy didn't see that. He only saw men who might help. One biker, a tall man with a gray beard braided at his chest, crouched down so he was eye level with the boy. "What's your name, kid?" he asked softly. "Adam," the boy replied. He tightened his grip on the handlebars. "It's my bike. I can walk." "Mommy needs food," biker swallowed. Around him, the others shifted uncomfortably. They had seen things on the road: accidents, fights, loss, but desperation in a child's voice was a different kind of wound. "Where's your dad, Adam?" another biker asked. Gently, Adam looked down at the ground. He went away. A long time ago. The boy didn't explain more. He didn't need to. Silence filled the space where hope used to live. The bikers exchanged looks. One of them reached into his pocket and pulled out some cash, but the gray-bearded man raised a hand. "Not yet," he said. "Let's understand first." He stood and walked slowly toward the woman across the street. She straightened, embarrassed, as if caught doing something wrong simply by being hungry. When he reached her, she tried to speak, but her voice cracked. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "I didn't mean for him to bother anyone." "I told him not to. He's not bothering anyone," the biker said firmly. "My name's Jack. What's yours?" "Maria," she replied. Her knees trembled. Jack noticed immediately and motioned for one of the bikers to bring a chair. She hesitated, then sat, pressing her hand to her stomach. "How long since you've eaten?" Jack asked. 2 days, Maria whispered. "I give Adam what little I can find. Bread, sometimes soup from the shelter. I can manage. He can't." Jack nodded slowly. "What happened?" The story spilled out in pieces, between pauses and shallow breaths. Maria's husband had worked for a local contractor, cash jobs, no paperwork. One day, after an argument over unpaid wages, the man disappeared. So did the money he owed. When Maria went to ask for answers, the contractor laughed, told her she had no proof, no contract, no rights. Soon after, the landlord raised rent. When she couldn't pay, they were forced out. The shelter was full. Friends had drifted away. Hunger became normal. "And the bike?" Jack asked. "Adam's father gave it to him," she said, eyes filling. "It's the only thing we have left that's worth anything." Jack felt something heavy settle in his chest. He looked back at the boy, still standing with his bike, hope flickering like a candle in the wind. Jack turned to the bikers. "We're not buying the bike," he said loudly. Adam's shoulders slumped. Maria closed her eyes, bracing herself for disappointment. "We're fixing the problem," Jack continued. Within minutes, the bikers moved with purpose. One went to the diner and ordered meals. Another called a friend who ran a local outreach center. Someone else quietly took photos of the storefront Maria had mentioned. The name of the contractor still visible on a faded sign. When the food arrived, Adam stared at it like it might disappear if he blinked. Maria cried as she ate, ashamed and grateful, all at once. Jack sat with them, listening. "You said the man who took everything still works here?" Jack asked. Yes, Maria nodded. Everyone knows. But no one stands up to him. Jack smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Sometimes, he said, the right people just haven't shown up yet. That afternoon, the bikers paid a visit to the contractor, not with fists or threats, but with facts. One of them had a legal background. Another had connections in the city. Records were found. Witnesses were called. The man who thought himself untouchable suddenly found the law knocking at his door. By nightfall, Maria and Adam were in a small motel, paid for a week in advance. Groceries filled the mini-fridge. The bike leaned safely against the wall. Adam looked up at Jack. "You didn't buy my bike," he said quietly. Jack smiled. "No, son. We made sure you never have to sell it." Weeks later, Maria had her owed wages back. Enough to start again. The outreach center helped her find work. Adam went back to school. Sometimes, when he heard motorcycles in the distance, he'd run to the window and wave, even if he couldn't see them. The bikers rode on, carrying the story with them, not as a tale of heroism, but as a reminder. Strength isn't about fear. It's about showing up when someone has nothing left to give but hope. And maybe that's why this story matters. Because kindness doesn't always look gentle. Sometimes it roars in on two wheels and refuses to look away. If this story touched your heart, please comment below and share your thoughts. Have you ever seen kindness change a life? Let us know. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and support our channel. Be kind always. Because stories like this remind us that compassion can still win in a hard world.